paranormal, special guests, interviews, haunting stories, creatures of the unknown, and tales that will chill you to the bone. Brought to you by the UPRN Network and Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. Take a walk into the night with Shawn Kelly.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shawn Kelly, and welcome to Into the Night. And as you can tell, I don't have my video up. So, again, I'm going to have to figure out on what's going on with my computer. You know, maybe I should just buy another camera and connect it to the computer and see what happens there. I want to welcome everybody tonight. How's everybody doing this week? Life is good for me right now. I had a little rough week going on for me again. But today I actually got a haircut and all that good stuff. So I was hoping my camera was on, and but it isn't. But that's okay. You all should know what I look like by now. How's everybody doing with the situations that you are in? Like, are you doing okay? Are you getting help? I hope so. And I want you all to remember that I do pray for you. I really do, because it's nice to, feel good when you give support to people who have mental illness and other people too that don't. But I like to pray for everybody because the power of prayer really works. I got a really cool ghost guest on tonight, but I'm going to go through. I pulled up my animal card and do what I do at the end. Do it now before I bring them on. I did draw an animal card tonight, and it was the bat. Now, the bat in the animal speak thing means a rebirth, okay? And it's letting go of old habits and of assuming the position in life, getting rid of the old and start the new. So if you happen to see a bat, it's nothing bad, okay? It's just that the bat's trying to tell you, let's get rid of the old and start a brand new person. So what I want to do now is I'm going to bring on my guest. They were down at the Buxton Inn with us, and they were a big help, and they're a bunch of wonderful people, and they know their stuff. So I asked them to be on the show tonight, and they said, okay, cool. And so without further ado, I would like you to meet, I think, Stacy from the Ohio Ghost Crew. Hi, Stace.
Hey, Shawn, how are you tonight?
Doing good. Too bad you can't see my face. You know what I mean?
I know.
So, what's been going on?
Hey, no, we just been kind of coming down from the Buxton, and that was a great experience. That's the first time we had been there. Mm-hmm. So when we're starting to gear up for our next investigations, what we've been doing.
Where are you headed?
So we're heading in May. We're heading to Zoar, Ohio, to the Zoar Historical Village.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first week when we're there, we're going to do like a private investigation with the Ohio Ghost Crew team. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go back the third weekend in May to do a event for them. So that we'll have a ticketed event where people will come in, and we kind of break up into groups and have a teach people what we do and everything else. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, that sounds great. Now, can you give a little description of the village that you're going to?
Well, this will be the first time that we're there, so I kind of had to, we reached out to them to kind of figure out what was going on there. It started out as a back in the early 1800s, like a spiritist group that came in
Mm-hmm.
They built boys' dormitories. So when you were 3 years old and you were a boy, you went to live at this dormitory until you were 14. So you didn't even live at home with your parents. Um,
Okay.
there's 14 different buildings with a school dormitory. There's I know, like a butcher shop, an antique store. But on this property, they have bed and breakfast. So you could actually go and stay there.
Oh, wow.
But it's built the same, they've not changed anything. Of course, roads and things have changed through the town, but since the 1800s. So I actually got online to see if I could buy a book about what's going on there and hauntings and things that are going on. And it's a pretty active town, from what
Okay.
I have read. So we're kind of looking forward to seeing what is all there.
Now, when you were looking up, when you were reading up on the little village here, what kind of things that were happening that kind of like made it haunted?
Well, a lot of the things that go on is a lot of children's laughter. Um, a
Okay.
lot of things are happening in that dormitory, of some maybe some spirits of some children. Um, when we talked to the ladies that run the area for the historical society, they said, we're not scared or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but we do always wonder what is here.
Okay.
Um, some of the old homes, they feel someone's watching them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, this will be our first experience there, so we're not quite sure what we're getting into.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I'm happy for you. And you know what? For you telling me that, maybe that gives me an idea to bring my group there to check
Oh,
it out.
absolutely.
So, whenever you go do an investigation somewhere, like we'll say the village, will you put a little presentation for them to get to them? Do you work that way?
We do. We just had an event here in March, and what we like to do is we have a hour. We call it our ghost hunting 101 class. So we set
Mm-hmm.
up a presentation. I have a PowerPoint. Um, we like people to understand why we go in and do these things. We started out we started out in 2010 wanting to help other people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
many children, well, your parents will say, my child won't sleep at night. They say something's in their room. And, what our main goal was to go into places to help parents and children understand, hey, this is what's happening.
Right.
Should you not talk to this person? Should you? What's going on? And so that's how we got started. And we explain people, we are all four. There's four of us women.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually all Christian women. So we actually go in and we teach the kids and the parents, hey, have you ever said a prayer? Are you scared? Do you do
Mm-hmm.
this prayer? Um, is there, did anybody bring anything into the home lately that was negative, some negative energy?
Right.
So we talk about all of that in our presentation, what negative energy is, what can bring things in, how we help other people, what equipment we use. And then basically, then before our event, we go over we have a code of conduct. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we talk back and forth about where we've been, and just people ask questions, you know,
Okay.
as you know, there's many people out there that are very curious about what we do.
Right. Now that's a good thing. A good question I want to bring up to you. The four of y'all are Christian women, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see at the beginning where it might have had, paranormal investigating had a, kind of like was a no in the Christianity faith, like Christian faith?
Yes. And, anywhere we go, I do a lot of Rotary talks and Sertoma. Um, Anywhere we go, there's always somebody in the crowd that says, how can you be a Christian and do the paranormal? And our answer is simply, you know, if you dig into the Bible, if you don't believe in the paranormal, then
Right.
the Bible is all paranormal, of
Hmm.
things, and faith that you have. And, obviously there's good and evil on earth. So,
Right.
and that's what we're here to, tell people. Like, we went to a residence a couple weeks ago, and a little boy's being drawn out into the woods. And
Mm.
we're like, yeah, that's probably not a good thing. And they're like, yeah, they keep going out there and they keep drawing them closer and closer out into our woods and out into our field. And And we told the mom, like, that's
Hmm.
probably not a good spirit, calling them and luring your 5-year-old child out into a woods.
Oh God, no.
And so
Yeah,
we investigated that for him. I said, yeah, let's not do that. So, and we do get that question. I said, we're there to help people, and there are a lot of people that are scared of this stuff. And if we're not going to go in and help somebody, then who is? So,
right.
it does. We do get a lot of that. Like, how can you do this? And we say we go in by faith, and we go in and teach them what we do, and we do have a lot of calls afterwards. I was like, hey, thank you.
Right.
We feel a lot safer in our home.
And that's the experience that I got when I go do a private residence, is basically to give them a peace of mind, and sit down and talk to them. Usually, there are times that we go on investigations where we don't bring in all the equipment. When we go through the walkthrough, we usually find out what's happening and try to deal with the situation without bringing. Because I know some of the houses that we go to are very, very small, and if I just brought half of my crew with all the equipment, that would be kind of hard to set up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so, but that's awesome. What got you into the paranormal?
Well, growing up, I've always liked the spooky stuff anyways. I like scary movies and things like that. And but then just having a couple of my own experience of things that I couldn't quite wrap my head around of why it's happening. I wanted to dig deeper into, hey, what is going on here, and who am I talking to, or what am I seeing? Um, so I had a friend, which is Cindy, that you also met, that's part of our team. I said, why don't we start this group? There's so many people out there that might need our help. And she's like, yeah, let's do that. So we just blossomed from there. It just kind of kick-started, and we had 2 other team members join us, and we've just stuck together for, well, it's going on 13 years now.
God bless you. God bless you.
Yeah,
And it's great when you have a crew that works good together.
we do. We're
You
really
know,
close.
I saw you guys work when we were down the Bucks, and I was really impressed with you guys. I really, really was.
Well, thank you.
What I liked a lot was that you were open-minded to a lot of things. Um, you my biggest pet peeve, and I don't know if this is yours, but I've ran into a lot of other people in different groups that, like, go to a place and just to get some kind of reaction, they call them out. You know what I mean? Call them
Yes.
every name in the book. And that's my biggest pet peeve, because it's just like this, right? I go to a house and there's a ghost there, and all of a sudden you hear everybody swearing at you, calling you every name in the book. And you're like, why are they here in my house? You know
Right.
what I mean? So um, I'm not going to respond to you. So you all can act like a bunch of idiots out there setting up your cameras and trying to get some, you know, evidence. But I'm not going to be there. I might be next to them. You know what I mean? If I'm the ghost, I'm next to them, and I'm not going to go near there. You know.
Right.
So that is my big pet peeve. What's your thoughts on that?
It is with ours too, because we're going into someone's house and disrespecting, the
Hmm.
paranormal or the people that live there is that's a huge no-no for us. And, a lot of people love some of these TV shows, and I like some of them too, but some of them I'm like, no, you don't do that. You don't go
Right.
in and call them out and yell and scream and cuss, and that's not what we're here for. And we're not here to rile anything up. And, and especially historical places. I've been to places that people get rowdy and out of control, and that's
And
that's
that's like where you just want to pull them to the side and, like, why don't you shut the hell up? You know what I mean? This like,
right. Yeah. And that's why when we do our private events, we have that code of conduct, like no alcohol.
hmm,
If you get rowdy, we can kick you out. No, we've had people try to bring in haunted objects or Ouija boards or black
right,
magic, or we're like, no, 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 we're
right.
not doing this. So yeah, there's a fine line sometimes, and yeah, a lot of people like to go far fetched with it.
Yeah, like extremely far fetched. Now, I looked at it and doing this for a very long time. Um, I learned that if you treat the spirit with respect, in return, they're going to respect you and they are going to give you a lot more attention, so to say. You know
I
what I mean?
agree.
And it's really good, because a lot of people think that that they're just ghosts, okay? But a lot of people don't realize that they were human at one time. You know what
Right.
I mean? And so I'm dead. I'm a ghost, and someone comes in calling me every night. I know what they're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But and it just irritates me. But you know what? I just pull them to the side and I tell them, don't do that, or else you got to go. And that's that simple. Um, Now, I wanted to bring this question up. Okay. Now, you know how you got all these places that, all the ghost shows went to, like all the majors, Eastern Penn, and all them other places. Do you think that the ghosts know what everyone's doing?
I often wonder that. I often wonder if they sit there and think, these people are stupid. I'm not going to touch that red light one more time. Like,
Right. Okay.
yes.
Good. Good. I'm glad because I'm thinking, I'm going to go. I'm not go to Eastern Penn. Example, just an example, right?
Mhm.
Now, I think at the time I remember it was like 2,500 for the whole night for investigating up there, right? And then you had to bring a lot of people in to cut back on the costs of going into it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's like it's so hard to investigate with 100 people in the place. And I just think the ghosts just get sick and tired of people going and investigating it. You know,
Oh yeah.
what really gets me mad though, these places like where Taps and all them have been, right now those places, it's a moneymaker for them. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? They're not, you know, they're not. They don't care what you get, just so you give them money. You know
Right.
what I mean? And that's kind of upsetting because being a ghost, like I am, okay, think about it. You're using me, and I don't want to be used.
Right.
And
Right. And
and
especially ever since, we call it the COVID year, I have seen that the prices to get into these places have skyrocketed
mhm,
where, yeah, you can't even afford to take a small group and teach them what you do.
right.
You have to literally take 50 people to cover your cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have gone there because of the other groups that have gone there. And to me, it's not worth it. I always tell people, I'm like, I can find a lot of evidence just in your house
Right.
than paying all that money to go to something. I can see where it's prestigious for everybody. Hey, I was at Eastern Penn, blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, look at us. We were there. Um, But to me, my whole goal for PPS was to help people. You know what I
Right.
mean? Don't get me wrong. I love going to cemeteries. How about you girls?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But see, I'm a history major in college. And so I like cemeteries, but I sit and read everything and, all these different places we go to. I'm more involved in like looking at the historical things and I'm like, oh, wait, that's not what we're here for. But
Right.
yeah, yeah,
But
I
the
like
stuff,
that stuff.
but that's cool. But what we tried to do um, when this was a while back, and even so today, whenever we get the chance to go out there, we try to fix up the graves. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because and that is like my that angers me so much is when you go to a cemetery, you see everybody knocking headstones off and stuff like that, and to me, desecrate. Why? Why do
Right.
people do that? It's like really freaking ridiculous.
It
You
is.
know? But
It is. And in history, they just go out there and ruin history. They do. We do that too. I wipe it off a gravestone or, you know,
mhm.
it's yeah, it's terrible.
If I could find a way, because when you go to and you see the headstones when you go to the cemetery, how dirty they are, and they're old. They're
Right.
old. I'm trying to find a way to where maybe figure out how to clean them up. I know
Mhm.
there's a girl on TikTok that does that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
follow her. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that is so cool at what she does,
I do too.
So hopefully, whenever, you know, I get the opportunity to do it, I think I'm going to go out and do it because I figure it's the resting home. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I wouldn't want somebody to do that where my home is at, you
Right.
know. So,
Right. I agree.
so you say that you're the historian of the group. Now,
I,
if you're going to a place, let's just not say like you go into a private residence. Do you try to find information on the house or the land?
we do both. So we always, if someone calls us, I say, okay, can you give us your address? And, do you know any history of your house? Some
Hmm.
people do, some people don't. Like, okay. And, I ask, is it okay if I go and dig deeper into the history of where your house sits? And I've not had anybody say, no, 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 don't do that.
Right.
So, we do get on newspaper archives and dig deep and see if anything happened at that home, what was on the land. Go up to the courthouse to get
Hmm.
the deeds to the house, and we bring it to them. A lot of people are like, "Wow, I didn't know you could get all this stuff," and we just bring them a wealth of information.
Right.
So, kind of when we go in there, we kind of go, okay, this might be what we're dealing with. Was this, Indian burial ground? Was this a historical site at one point?
Hmm.
Did any accidents happen on this land? I do. That's like my big thing. That's what
Hmm.
I love to do is to dig into the history part of it so I can present it to the family.
That's that's good. We
Yeah.
have a girl in our group, and she's just awesome, man. She really digs and digs and digs. But I have noticed that, like the investigations we have done, and them homes, the brand new ones that they put on the land,
Mm-hmm.
like in the cul-de-sacs or whatever the hell you want to call them. That most of the hauntings in their house isn't from their family members. It's more of the um, spirits of the people who used to own that were on that land back in the 1800s, back in the 1700s.
Right.
So I find that really, really fascinating.
Well, I have people call me and go, well, I live in a new house, so I don't understand. I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter. Your house could be
Right.
built today and
Hmm.
you could have issues. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially on like there's a like a house plan up there by I forget the name of the Bushy Run battlefield up here in Pennsylvania, and I've done 3 or 4 houses up there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because and at that time there was the war going on up there. I do believe it was the French Indian War. General Braddock and all them. I do believe. I might be wrong. Don't
Mm-hmm.
quote me on that. But yeah, um, and there was a battle there.
Yeah.
So God only knows,
Right.
how many soldiers are still roaming up there. Now, you can't really go out and investigate the whole battlefield, but you can only do certain parts of the battlefield. And then to bring back what I said earlier was, okay, all these soldiers are known. Um, why people are there with their cameras.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they're like, well, I could probably think they're looking at that camera and they're saying, the ghosts are saying, like, what the hell's that?
Yeah. We often say, like, can you come and touch our device? I'm like, they don't know what that is. Like,
Uh-uh. No, 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 no. So, um, but let's just say that you went overseas to investigate. I like to ask these questions with other people, other groups, but since I got you on the radio, I'm going to put you on the spot.
yeah.
I'll say, like, if you go to Spain, okay, and you did some investigating in Spain, do you think would you bring in an interpreter with you or,
Yeah. We always think that, what if we're going into a home, even in Ohio, where we're at, we go into a home where they were a German speaking family
right?
And we're here talking and we're like not getting any answers. Well, maybe because we don't speak German. I often think of that too. They're not speaking English,
Right.
in Spain, or yeah, I think about that too. And when you watch some of the shows and they're speaking English and they're in, Ireland or Spain or wherever, and they're speaking
Right.
English and they're answering in English, I'm like, I'm not so sure that's correct. So
Yeah. Or they're looking at you dumbfounded, and it's like, oh, they probably think, oh, you're trying this hard. We'll give you a little
yeah,
taste and hit your red button. You know what I
yeah.
mean, or your red dot. Now, say like, what is your sequence, or what do you guys do? Say like I call you to investigate my house. What are your steps on doing it?
Well, what we do is we take a lot of information over the phone, things that they have experienced and family members that are having, their issues and feelings that they have. Get their address, anything that they know on the home, and then we research all that, like we had talked about before. And
Mm-hmm.
then what we like to do is go in for an initial, the kind of what we call our base reading. So we'll go in and bring not all of our equipment. We'll just bring our basic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
our EMF detectors, our digital recorders, our video camera, just some very basic stuff. And we talk to the families. Most of the time, we'll just go in there and talk. Especially if they're having more of a poltergeist activity. Like, hey, how's everybody feeling in the house? Is everybody getting along? Um, is there anything that you've brought into the house lately? Any antiques? Any, you know,
Mm-hmm.
have you done anything? Like, so a good interview with the family members. And if there's children involved too, and and the parents want them to talk, we talk to the kids like, hey, take us around, show us what you see.
Right.
And then we
Yep.
just kind of do our basic initial investigation for, 2-3 hours and see what we get. And then if we have this feeling that, yeah, this is something we need to come back to, then that's when we bring all of our equipment back and set up
Right.
our video cameras and things like that.
And then after the investigation, how long does it take you to give them a result back on what you find? I know for us, we did many, and sometimes we haven't gotten back until a certain amount of time. But what is your basic, to respond back to me?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes that night we'll say, hey, we need to come back. This is kind of what we've gotten, but we'll come back.
Hmm.
And then we'll take it home and watch things, listen to our recorders, and then get back with the team. We try to get back within like a couple weeks span.
Okay.
Of course, and as you know, when you have a full-time job as well during the day, so
Right.
um, we try to get back in a couple weeks time. And then if we feel the need that, hey, we need to come back, we try to schedule it within a couple weeks to tell them what works for you for us to come back.
Right.
you know
How many times? I'm sorry. Excuse me. What was one investigation that you had to go back, maybe again, and maybe a couple more times? Have you ever ran into that?
um Actually, this house that we just went to, probably, it's been 2 weeks now.
Hmm.
We we definitely, there's a 17-month-old and a 5-year-old that is seen. It's the one that I was telling you about, how the boy is getting lured out into the woods.
Right.
And they're also seeing spirits walking through his bedroom at night. And he wants to sleep with the light on. um, there's footsteps in the hallway. So and we heard this all that night. We didn't get to see what was outside and what he's experiencing outside. So we would like to go back and set up things outside so we can actually see what it is that is luring him out there. It was just a cold, rainy night when we were there before. So,
Right. Right.
but that is a house that we are going back to for sure. Um,
Okay.
yeah. And we've had just not very often do we feel that, um, that we have to go back for a second or third night. Um,
Hmm.
very few that we say, hey, we're going to come back, or that, some of them we have actually debunked as, we've gone in, we have actually, about 6 months ago, had a couple college girls renting a house, in our local town, and they called us and they're like, we're seeing all these things and we're hearing these noises, and here we went in and we weren't really feeling anything and seeing anything, but we went into one of the areas of the house where they have the most problem. And we pulled back the wallpaper. I said, "You have black mold so bad in your
Oh,
house. You need to
wow.
call the landlord."
Hmm.
And here, this black mold was making them sick. And they called us and said, "Yes, that's what it is." Like they had, they're like, this is it. I mean, we've been so sick lately, and we thought it was maybe a possession. Something was going on evil in
Right.
the house. They were scared to death, and all along it was black mold that was doing it to them.
Well, that I haven't ran into the black mold, but the first thing that we do when we go into a house is we'll go down to the main breaker box and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what kind of wiring they got. Because they're, I know here in Pittsburgh, we've been to old houses and they don't have the upgrade like electrical, you know what I mean? The wiring,
Right.
and it's the old knob and tubing stuff. And you know that knob and tubing just radiates EMF, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
We did a house. It was, in fact, it was an apartment building a long time ago where, they called us up because this guy had like a real big rash on his arm, right? And they couldn't figure out what was going on, and they thought that their place was haunted. And come to find out that, and come to find out that they had the old wiring, knob and tubing, and here where his bed was, there was a socket, okay, and that was releasing so much EMF that it actually burned his arm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. That
Wow.
So I said either A, contact the landlord and try to get
Yeah.
it help, or move. But we always check, always check when we walk in is the breaker box and the wiring and see
Mm-hmm.
where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what equipment do you use?
Well, um, some of our favorite things that we use, for one, our number one is our own senses. You know,
Hmm.
our sight, sound, listening,
Right.
smells.
Hmm.
Um, that's one of our big ones. Like sometimes you just have to sit and see how your body's going to react in a home or any business or place that we go. Um, we do have, I think you got to see it when we went to Buxton, and my new favorite is that tripwire.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
I I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and basically what that is it's a 12-foot EMF detection, so you can run it down a hallway or put it on a bed or a rocking chair or in anything, and it will light up if we have any kind of EMF detection.
Hmm.
So that's one of my new favorite ones. And then
Uh,
finally we got our hands on the EDI. We call him our Eddie
okay.
because Eddie is hard to find, and Eddie um, is vibration, EMF, pressure, anything. It kind of does everything, and it records it too, so we can bring it home on a little SD drive and stick it in our computer and see at what point in the night did we have different pressures and different EMFs.
Right. So
So
it's called Eddie.
it's called
ED.
Eddie. Yep. It's an EDI is what it
Okay.
really is, but we call him Eddie. Yep.
For all our paranormal people out there, that have teams, where can you pick one up?
We got that one at Ghost Stop.
Okay.
Um, and we love it, but you have to watch because as soon as Eddie comes, like they get Eddie on the shelf, Eddie goes that right back out. So kind
Okay.
of have to be on the ball to get him. And one of our investigators, Heather, was on the ball. She's like, "I got Eddie." We finally, after a couple years of wanting him, we finally got him. So
Because I might just have to go get one.
yeah.
I know I'm going to get that wire, or what was it?
Oh yeah, the tripwire.
The tripwire, yeah. Now, have you ever hung them up instead of laying them on the floor? Have you ever hung them from somewhere?
We haven't. We've put them on a bed that
Hmm.
we've had somebody say that somebody sits with them on the bed at night. So we've actually put them on the bed with our client that we went into, and we've put them on a chair and down a long hallway. But we've actually never hung them. I'm
Hmm.
sure you could do that as well.
Okay. See, to me, because believe it or not, I was thinking about that this afternoon. I was going to ask you that question because I would think that if you somehow did hang them up somewhere, that I, I would think that you would probably get a lot more response with it being hung than it would be on the floor.
Right. Yeah, because all it would have to do, is just by touch. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, that'd be
Now,
a good idea.
now the four girls in your group who are sweethearts. They really were. I mean, you guys are great
Well, thank you.
and sweethearts. And is there like a certain person does a certain or works with a certain equipment, or do you guys all work together, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a techie just does techie stuff. And,
Well, we just brought the four of, well, actually only three of our team members were there at Buxton Inn. Our fourth one couldn't make it. And so we brought it, we call her our groupie. She comes with us on a lot of our investigations.
hmm
But we did it ourselves for a long time, and we'd set up our equipment, and we each have our own thing. But now we have included a couple of guys on our team. They're
hmm
kind of our brunt work. They carry all of our equipment. They set up all of our cameras and things while we talk to the clients and everything. But um, we kind of just pick up. We're you know whatever that we want to use for that night.
Right.
We do everything. Yeah,
Have you ever been to a place where you had to bring all your equipment and set it all up?
we have. Um, of course, Mansfield Reformatory. That's one of our favorites.
hmm
Of course, now it's getting. I feel that we've been there so many times. It's kind of ran its course for us, but we have set up everything there. That Mansfield never disappoints us.
hmm
We did bring our equipment there. We there has been a couple residential homes that we've set up everything, and then our event that we just did here in our hometown at the is the Lima Literacy Council House. We did an event for them for 2 weekends, and we do set up all of our equipment for that as well. Um, and we let things run through the night. Like after we closed up and left for the night, we let our cameras run all night long
Oh,
because
you do?
they had some doors slamming on the workers, the employees that work there, and some movement of furniture. So we let it run all night long,
hmm
which we did find some evidence in there. Not a whole lot that night, but a few things that had happened throughout the night.
Now, here's here's the tough question. How do you guys get together and examine all the evidence together, or does everyone take a piece of evidence and look at it themselves?
That's we would like to get together more and do it together, but with schedules sometimes it doesn't work out. So we each take something home. Somebody has the video, a couple of us have our digital recorders. um, yeah, so right now we take it each home, and then we FaceTime each other and say, what'd you find, what did you hear? And
hmm
our goal would be to eventually be able to just like sit down and go through everything together.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be good. But I guess that's a problem with a lot of the paranormal groups out there. You
Mm-hmm.
know that you have so much equipment. Because at the Bucks and I have my camera running, and there's a lot of film I'm looking at. So
Oh yeah.
it's like you're just sitting there and you're just looking at the camera in stationary place, and it's like, all right, something's got to happen here.
Right. Well,
You
and
know,
what people don't understand, it's not like it is on TV. The real thing is not what you see on TV.
yeah, that is true. I remember I was on the show. I'm not going to name it, but I, and I got a call from the Hollywood producers out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me to be on this show, and I said, sure, not a problem. And what really, really bothered me was that I wasn't able to do what I was good at. You know what I mean?
Right.
They told me what to say, they told me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time when I was up there for 5 hours, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Just
Right.
and then when the show came on, I only got 30 seconds, but I was monetary paid. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I can't, be mad about that. But I remember, I remember one time the couple, they were married, they were just sitting, and they made them hold their hands 13 different ways to get the perfect shot.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh Lord,
Oh my.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's reality TV, but it takes weeks or and many takes to get what we actually do in person.
Oh yeah,
And I don't know
absolutely.
about you, but we've had people come with us on some of our events, and they're like, "This is boring." I'm like, "Did did you
Yes.
think it was going to be interactive all the time? Because it's not."
Yes, we've had a lot of people saying the same things that we brought on. Like it's boring. That's the first thing that comes out of my mouth
Yeah.
to people. It's boring sitting in a room, and you don't know if somebody's there, and it's dark, and you're like talking to yourself. So,
Right.
but what what is your feeling on orbs?
On orbs,
Yeah,
I go back and forth. Like, really, I've not seen an orb visually with my own eyes, but they always catch, sometimes on video camera pictures. Um, and a lot of it, people will bring pictures to me. I'm like, it's probably dust, a lot
right.
of dust. And it's
Hmm.
so hard when you're anywhere, like, is that dust or an orb?
Right.
Those are very hard to decipher between. So, I mean, we've captured some pretty bright lights, and I'm like, yeah, that can't be dust. There's no way.
Right.
You can't see through it. So, to me, it's just a energy that's out there floating around. But,
Now,
um,
let's see. Here's what's crazy, right? I was at an investigation one time, set a camera up, and yeah, there was dust in the room, but we just had our camera running. Nobody was in the room. All right.
mhm.
Then I take the evidence back, and all of a sudden you see all these dust particles. And I'm saying to myself, okay, no one was in that room. So who kicked up the dust?
Mhm. Right.
And you know what I mean? So,
Right.
but, so, can you tell me your very, very first investigation?
Oh my goodness. Oh my. I would have to say our very first one was Mansfield Reformatory.
Okay.
And we went with another group that had, it was one of those 75 people. A little overwhelming,
Right. Hmm.
that was our very first one. And then as soon as we did that one, we went right into the residentials. We started with family members that would say, "Hey, I think there's something in my home." And we kind of branched out from there. We started with our family, and then, our family would tell other people, and we branched out. But,
Hmm.
um, yeah, but Mansfield Reformatory was our very first, like, official investigation.
Did you get any evidence there?
No, that night, no. Like I said, and you know that too. Like, we've talked about that. It's so hard when you have so many people,
Hmm.
and we may have heard things, we may have seen things, but we don't know for sure. We can't say yes, that's it for sure, because there was just so much going on. So, but we left with, like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Let's pursue this. So,
Right.
yeah.
Once you get, I believe you have to be a special type of person
Yeah.
that really needs to enjoy this because I know I started PPS in 2006 and I've gone through a ton of members, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's not for everybody.
No.
It is, so, but we're willing to teach, you know what I
Yes.
mean? We're willing to teach people if they want to go out and do the investigation. We're getting pretty close to the end. I know this has been an interesting hour, but I do have to ask you this question. Okay. Um, do you believe in paranormal unity? And what I mean by paranormal unity is instead of groups fending for themselves or being egotistical or whatever, do you believe in helping other paranormal groups out? And how would you do that?
Absolutely. We learned by working with another group, and bouncing ideas off of each other, and getting ideas for new equipment. And I think how my group feels is we're uh, we're all here to help other people. So we're not here to compete against each other. We're
Right.
here. There's so many people in the world. There wouldn't be enough paranormal investigators to help everybody.
Hmm.
So if we can learn from others and they can learn from us, that's amazing. And
That,
we, like when we came to Buxton with you, that's the reason we come, is to learn from others.
hmm.
And we do the, and May, we're going to Parapsychon in Ohio. It's actually at the Mansfield Reformatory. And we love to go there and we listen to different speakers. And they do have a lot of the ones that are from television that will be there. But we go and listen to them and hear their stories and how they help other people and, get their equipment ideas and things. So I don't think that we could do this alone. Like,
Right.
I love following other paranormal groups.
Oh, I know I'm going to start following you guys.
Well, thank you.
Checking out your website and stuff like that. What do you think, since you're in the paranormal, what do you think of Bigfoot and all the cryptids out there? Because that's paranormal too.
It is. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
That is one thing that, you often question. And is it out there, just like paranormal, because we can't see it all the time. Is
Right.
it really out? It could be UFOs, aliens. I don't know. And I'm very curious about that stuff. Like, I would like to know.
Have
And
you been on something like that?
I haven't. No,
Okay.
I have not. And none of my team members have ever done any of that, but that's not to say that we wouldn't.
Right. Um, I go gold prospecting and I go down to North Carolina, and I'm telling you what, there's some creepy stuff out there in the woods down there, and I'm serious. And I think I'm being watched, but as you know, that I'm on Chasing Prophecy,
Yeah.
which comes on before this show, and we talk everything, anything about paranormal, and we talk about Bigfoot and all the other cryptids that are out there, UFOs and aliens and stuff like that, and it opened my eyes,
Right.
So to me, I personally think they do exist,
Right.
but I'm just like, okay, I've seen a ghost, I want
Right.
I want an alien to come down and shake my hand, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I know they're there, but I want to see it with my own eyes.
Right. I would too. And I don't know what I would do if I did see it, though.
I'd shake its hand. I said, beam me up, buddy.
That's right.
Beam me up. Now, what would you do if someone came up to you and said that they wanted to get into ghost hunting? What would you advise them to do?
I would advise them to go, and we've had a couple people ask us, and we invite them to come with us, because it's not for everybody. Like, don't start a business and think, oh, I want to do this and get all this, put all the money into it, when you got to have a lot of patience,
Right,
and a lot of understanding for other people. And it's not for everybody. So we tell them, go on an investigation with other people, fill it out, see how you feel after a few times. Yeah.
And you give them little pointers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Some do's, some don'ts. Like we talked about before, you don't ever go into a house and start harassing whatever's there. That's
Right.
not what we do. Yeah. And we kind of just teach them along the way, and,
Have you ever been to Gettysburg?
no, but that is on our bucket list.
Okay. We go every year, and
Oh.
I'm telling you what, it's awesome. If it really is like the most haunted place in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that is definitely on our bucket list.
And I know there was some little civil wars. Wasn't there some battles out there in Ohio? Because the original, we have, what is it? The aviary here in Pittsburgh. Okay. And it was the original Allegheny jail, okay, for prisoners. So during like 1864, it was the Union Army captured the Confederate cavalry over there in Ohio, and they made that a Civil War camp, prison. And we even got the opportunity to investigate it. And yes, that's haunted with a soldier. It's crazy. Yeah, we did actually get them. So, well, I appreciate you coming on tonight.
Well, I
really,
appreciate you inviting us.
And good luck in all your investigations coming up. And hopefully we can do a joint investigation, meet from where you're at and I'm at, meet in the middle, and maybe do an investigation. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd like that.
And how can people get a hold of you?
So they can get a hold of us on Facebook. You can go to Ohio Ghost Crew
Hmm.
LLC. We're also on TikTok with the same thing, or Instagram, Ohio Ghost Crew.
Okay.
Yep. Or they can email us at ohioghostcrew@yahoo.com.
Hmm. Well, again, thank you for being on the show. And good luck to you.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks for having us on.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Stacy from the Ohio Ghost Crew, and what a wonderful, wonderful hour. It was great. Um, but before I close, I just want to say that parents, really, moms and dads, give your kids a hug and tell them that you love them. And children, sons and daughters, please give your parents a hug and just tell them you love them. And I'm telling you that I love you is going to go far. It really, really is, because children grow up so dang fast. Before you know it, they're in their 30s, and you wish you could spend more time. I believe children were given to us. They're only, we're bought. God gave them to us, to borrow. That's the way I look at it. Borrow them for a little bit. Um, but you know what? You got to hug them. And I just want to wish everybody a good night. Thank you for listening in. We are on the UPRN radio 105.3 out of New Orleans. And please check us out on Chasing Prophecy. We're on Tuesday nights from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central. So, everybody, have a good night, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Happy hunting.